If you ask the average person to name a small town in North Carolina, you're probably going to hear the same 3 or 4 places every single time. People immediately talk about the bustling streets of downtown Asheville, the tourist-packed beaches of Nags Head in the Outer Banks, or maybe the golf resorts scattered around Pinehurst. And don't get me wrong, those spots are popular for a reason. But if you talk to people who have lived in the Tar Heel state for decades, they'll tell you that the true magic of North Carolina isn't found on the main tourist strips or in the overcrowded resort centers. It's hidden away in the quiet, tucked-away small towns scattered between the Blue Ridge Mountains and the Atlantic coast. Towns where you can still park on a historic brick main street for free, walk into a 70-year-old family diner where everyone knows each other, explore pristine, empty nature trails without tripping over hundreds of tourists, and actually buy a home or rent a cabin without taking out a second mortgage. But as more and more people move to North Carolina every single month, the locals who live in these quiet havens are trying their absolute best to keep them quiet. They don't want massive real estate developers coming in, they don't want chain hotels popping up on every corner, and they certainly don't want these spots showing up on viral social media lists. Well, sorry to the locals in advance, because today we are breaking down 7 underrated small towns in North Carolina that residents are actively trying to gatekeep from the rest of the country. Starting off at number 7, we travel up into the foothills of the Blue Ridge Mountains to the historic town of Elkin. Located right along the Yadkin River, Elkin was originally founded as a quiet manufacturing and textile mill town back in the 19th century. When the mills eventually closed down decades ago, a lot of towns across the region struggled to find a new identity, but Elkin did something brilliant. Instead of letting its historic brick downtown crumble, the community rallied together to transform the town into one of the premier outdoor and trail hubs in the entire Southeast. Today, Elkin sits right at the intersection of 3 major regional trail systems, including the famous Over Mountain Victory National Historic Trail and the Mountains to Sea Trail. You can literally step off a charming main street, lined with local coffee shops, craft breweries, and antique stores, and immediately hike right onto a forest trail that leads you along rushing river bends and hidden waterfalls. But what really makes Elkin special is its location in the heart of the Yadkin Valley AVA, North Carolina's premier wine country. Surrounding the town are dozens of family-owned vineyards and tasting rooms tucked into rolling green hills that look like something straight out of Tuscany. You get world-class hiking, award-winning local wine, and a quiet, welcoming community without any of the massive crowds or inflated prices you find in neighboring mountain towns. Heading further west, deep into the Blue Ridge Mountains at number 6 is the breathtaking town of Sylva. Now, most people heading to the western part of the state drive straight past Sylva on their way to the Great Smoky Mountains National Park or the commercialized streets of Cherokee. And honestly, Sylva residents prefer it that way. Nestled in a dramatic mountain valley, Sylva looks like a movie set. In fact, its iconic historic Jackson County Courthouse sits perched at the top of a steep hill at the end of Main Street, requiring you to climb a grand staircase of 107 steps just to reach the front doors and take in the panoramic view of the surrounding mountain peaks. Downtown Sylva is completely vibrant, walkable, and packed with local pride. It has a thriving craft beer scene with local favorites like Innovation Brewing, where you can sit on a back patio right along a rushing mountain creek. The town is also home to incredible independent bookstores, retro record shops, and farm-to-table restaurants that source everything locally. Plus, you're located just minutes from the Tuckasegee River, which is widely considered one of the absolute best trout fishing spots in the entire country. Sylva gives you that authentic, rugged mountain lifestyle without feeling like a tourist trap. Moving down toward the central Piedmont region at number 5, we have the historic gem of Mebane. Situated right between the booming triangle region of Raleigh-Durham and the triad region of Greensboro, Mebane is a town that has managed to preserve its small-town soul despite being located near major highways. For decades, Mebane was known primarily as a quiet railroad stop and furniture manufacturing center. But over the last few years, its downtown district has undergone a remarkable renaissance. Main Street in Mebane is lined with gorgeous, restored 19th century brick storefronts, that house an incredible mix of high-end boutique shops, legendary antique centers, and surprisingly sophisticated dining spots. You can spend an entire afternoon wandering through multi-story antique malls looking for rare vintage finds, and then grab a table at a local bistro serving up high-end Southern fusion cuisine. It's a town where people still wave to you on the sidewalk, where local festivals bring out the entire community, and where you can enjoy a slow, peaceful pace of life while still being less than 30 minutes away from major international airports and research hubs. At number 4, we head all the way to the coast to explore the quiet waterbound town of Washington, which locals fondly refer to as Original Washington. Founded back in 1776, this was actually the very first town in the United States to be named after George Washington, long before Washington, D.C. even existed. Located right along the banks of the massive Pamlico River, Washington offers some of the most stunning, unobstructed waterfront views in the entire state. Unlike many coastal towns that have been overtaken by towering high-rise condominiums, giant chain hotels, and tacky tourist traps, Washington has carefully preserved its maritime heritage and historic architecture. The town features a gorgeous boardwalk that stretches right along the riverfront, where you can watch sailboats glide by, rent kayaks, or spot wild coastal birds. The historic downtown district is filled with antebellum homes, shade-giving oak trees, and local seafood spots where you can get fresh crab cakes, flounder, and oysters caught straight from local waters that very morning. It has all the beauty, climate, and charm of a historic coastal port like Charleston or Beaufort, but with a fraction of the traffic, zero commercial chaos, and a remarkably friendly local atmosphere. Taking the number 3 spot on our list, we venture down to the southern coast near the South Carolina border to visit the idyllic town of Southport. Now, if Southport looks vaguely familiar to you the second you arrive, there is a very good reason for that. Because of its untouched historic charm, massive live oak trees draped in Spanish moss, and picturesque harbor, Southport has served as the filming location for dozens of famous movies and television shows, including Safe Haven: A Walk to Remember, and Dawson's Creek. Sitting right where the Cape Fear River meets the Atlantic Ocean, Southport's waterfront park offers incredible views of passing ships, historic lighthouses, and ocean breezes. The town intentionally bans massive commercial developments along its historic waterfront, choosing instead to preserve its peaceful maritime village vibe. You can spend your days browsing quaint art galleries, taking historic walking tours past homes that date back to the 1700s, or eating fresh shrimp right on the wooden docks while watching the sunset. It's the kind of coastal town where life moves at a delightfully slow pace, where nobody is in a rush, and where the ocean views feel totally uninterrupted by modern noise. Sliding into the number 2 spot, we travel back west to the rolling hills of the Sandhills region to discover Hillsborough. Located just a short drive from the bustling college town of Chapel Hill, Hillsborough feels like a peaceful world entirely of its own. Founded in 1754, Hillsborough is overflowing with American history. It served as a major political hub during the Revolutionary War and Civil War eras, and today the town features over 100 historic homes, churches, and public buildings listed on the National Register of Historic Places. But Hillsborough isn't just a museum town stuck in the past. It has developed a fascinating modern identity as a haven for famous authors, artists, and musicians. The town features the Riverwalk, a paved greenway trail that winds right along the Eno River, connecting historic sites, peaceful wooded parks, and the bustling downtown district. Downtown Hillsborough is packed with cozy independent coffee houses, historic taverns operating out of 18th century buildings, and farm-to-table eateries that emphasize seasonal, local ingredients. It's quiet, intellectual, deeply artistic, and heavily protected by locals who want to keep its historic character completely intact. And finally, the number 1 underrated small town in North Carolina that locals are fiercely gatekeeping is the mountain paradise of Brevard. Located in Transylvania County, widely known as the Land of Waterfalls, Brevard sits right on the edge of the massive Pisgah National Forest. The county surrounding Brevard is home to over 250 stunning waterfalls, ranging from roadside cascades to deep wilderness drops, making it an absolute paradise for hikers, mountain bikers, fly fishermen, and outdoor enthusiasts. But Brevard isn't just about outdoor adventure. The town itself possesses a rich, unique cultural identity. It's home to the world-renowned Brevard Music Center, which draws top-tier classical musicians and performers from across the globe every single summer. The downtown district is buzzing with life, featuring local bakeries, outdoor gear shops, craft breweries, and cozy mountain diners. And here's a fun little local detail. Brevard is famous for being home to a rare population of white squirrels, which you can spot scampering through the oak trees in the town's public parks. Brevard offers the perfect blend of world-class wilderness access, rich arts and culture, and a tight-knit, authentic community spirit. It is without a doubt one of the finest small towns in America, and it easily claims our top spot today. So there you have it. That is our list of 7 underrated small towns in North Carolina that locals are doing their best to keep to themselves. Have you ever visited any of these incredible spots? Or is there another hidden town in North Carolina that we completely left off the list? Drop your thoughts and local recommendations in the comments down below, smash that like button, subscribe to North Carolina Uncovered, and I'll see you guys in the next video.